So in the past few weeks, I came across 2 videos in my YouTube feed talking about MAPPA and their involvement in pretty much every major anime project over the past 3 years. It all started with God of High School, which despite having terrible spacing issues, looked incredibly good. Their popularity increased later the same year with the final season of Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen, and a year ago with the adaptation of Chainsaw Man, among other smaller projects that while not as popular, were still fairly well made. This got me wondering, what's the worst anime created by MAPPA? Initially, I thought there wouldn't be any with particularly low ratings, but oh, I found one. Listeners. It aired in the spring 2020 season, animated and written by MAPPA, and it has a rating of 5.38. For comparison, the second season of The Promised Neverland, which is one of the most hated recent anime, has a rating of 5.29. Even shows that I personally disliked had much higher ratings than listeners. So, what could they have possibly done to receive such a low rating? The first episode was fairly good. It introduced us to a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has lost its connection to music. In this world, mysterious creatures called earless threaten human existence, and our main character, Echo, is determined to fight them. You know, pretty normal stuff. One day while collecting trash, he notices a girl that was transported there along with the trash. So he decides to do the most logical thing and kidnaps her. You know, not so normal stuff.
This looks just like the holes I've seen in the books. And if that's there, it can only mean one thing. Oh, you're awake. Feeling okay?
No, I'm not okay!
She's not just a girl though, she's a so-called player who is supposed to fight these creatures. However, she lost her memory, she has no idea what's her name, who she is, why is she there, so Iko decides to name her Miu. Out of all the names in the world, Miu? Really? After the initial kidnapping, the episode mainly focuses on our main characters arguing for half the episode. I want to help you fight these creatures. No way a woman can help me. So she skedaddles out there in the middle of the night. I wonder if it's cause she got mad or cause of these horribly written jokes.
I have to show you this. Look! No! Seriously, look at it! Here, isn't it awesome? You see?
This is the face of a good old-fashioned dumbfuck. Don't forget this face. Well, it seems like they will never see each other ever again.
Holy shit!
Once they realize that these creatures attack the city again, they reunite to fight them together. Oh no, I get why this anime is so low rated. No, not because of the CGI. It's a fucking mecha. The episode ends with them defeating these creatures and running away from the city, thinking that they accidentally killed the mayor. Usually one episode is not enough to decide if an anime is good or bad, but the writing has so many flaws. The whole episode was built upon the fact that she doesn't know anything about herself. Then how the fuck did she just figure out how to use her powers without any clue? Like what the fuck? After they ran away from the city, they got attacked once again, but no worries, the CGI mecha is here to save the day. It didn't work. And now they are dead. Wait, what is that sound? We get introduced to our villains, aka Beta Ginyu Force.
We have glimpsed the glow of the thing we sought. The power that was lost is found.
I don't know if they tried to act German or what. I first watched this in Japanese and it didn't seem like they have an accent. After Echo and Miu fell down, they started discussing what's the reason behind their powers not working and
You don't have a cool name for it.
You don't have a cool name for it. Now I understand why characters always have to shout what move they will use. It wouldn't work otherwise.
Wait, where'd your hands go?
I'm gonna come up with a few more name options in the morning.
Who the fuck wrote these jokes? It's okay to have a few of these, but this is the 15-30 minutes. After that, Echo starts rambling about other players, until Miu falls asleep from the boredom and he decides to go pee. Now where should he go? You know, the forest, next to a tree, or the random bathroom that appeared out of nowhere a second ago. The German set up a trap against Echo, so he decided to use his ultimate move and flash them. And it actually worked. Well, until they catched up. But now it's time for Echo to show why he's the main character of the show.
Autograph, please?
Let's just move on to the next step. The first 2 episodes were really confusing. We got introduced to the 2 main characters, but after that they lacked direction, and things were happening without any apparent purpose. However, this episode is where they finally explained what the story will be. After they got kidnapped, the Germans got attacked, and they got kidnapped again by different players. Yeah, it's just as confusing as it sounds. Following that, we received some backstory from our kidnapper about events that occurred 10 years ago. They aim to defeat these monsters, but the strongest player, Jimmy, turned against the others and Mew has his score part. Up to this point, everything was pretty good. They explained a lot about this world. However, things started to get weird again. Let me just summarize what they talked about. You possess the strongest weapon of humanity, capable of destroying anything. Oddly, we have no information about you, and there is a concern you might turn against us, just like Jimmy did. So can I go? Yeah, that's fine. What? In the meantime, even better things happened. While Echo was trying to fix his AMP, the partner of our kidnapper showed up. He helped Echo and gave him some advice, which is fine. However, the thing is, they introduced this guy as a shut-in who hasn't left his room in 10 years. And now he suddenly changes his mind when he sees Echo. Like, why? What is so special about him? What do you say? I don't get it. The writing sucks so much, man. But anyway, now that they know all this information, they have to find out who this Jimmy guy was and go from place to place to collect information. It's basically like a... First we get into this Scooby-Doo type episode, where to obtain information from the school principal, they have to uncover the identity of a drug dealer. Surprisingly, it turns out to be the guy who helped them all day. There isn't much more this episode. We are introduced to the only good character in this anime, who happens to be a drug addict. And that's about it. After that, they proceed to Minneapolis, where we are introduced to Prince. No, it doesn't just look like him, it is him. However, let's just say he was quite sexual.
You're a cute pair, Team 6ix9ine.
We got more information from him, we got to know that he loved Jimmy, and he is probably in London. Then we move on to a place where these monsters are accepted, they don't attack people. The anime really hardly tries to introduce individuals with different perspectives on these creatures to add conflict and create confusion about who is right. However, this attempt falls flat because it feels too sudden, and they never adequately explain how these creatures work, which is really fucking annoying. Up to this point, the anime was okay, albeit boring. It started to show promise, especially with the next episode, which happens to be my favorite by far. Quite ironically, in this episode we won't see our main characters at all, which is a bad idea, considering how the plot haven't progressed at all, but at this point, I'm just happy with having a good episode. We are introduced to Richie and Light, two really entertaining characters working at a mechanical shop, and the return of the drug addict girl. They start living together, and for the first time, an episode focuses heavily on character development. We learn about their past, how they were saved by Jimmy, their aspiration to be like him, and when they finally achieve their goal, they meet an unfortunate end. It's a short, simple and straightforward story, yet it was more engaging than everything we've had so far. If they would have just focused on this story, the anime could have been really good actually. Unfortunately, it's only downhill from here. We return to Mew and Echo, who managed to escape from the place with the monsters, only to get kidnapped again, this time taken to London, where Jimmy is believed to be. Mew receives an offer to reenact what happened 10 years ago, hoping that it will bring Jimmy back, and she reluctantly agrees. Unfortunately, once again, it didn't work. Jimmy was never going to return, and instead, they designate Mew as the new Jimmy. Alongside this revelation, we are introduced to a new villain, but it just kinda doesn't do anything after this. We get introduced to his master plan, how he wants to control everything. We spend like 40 minutes listening to that, just for him to die in an instant. Now up to this point, the anime is almost over, and there are so many different plotlines but no answers. We still don't really know who Mew is. They never explain what happened with Jimmy, and we still don't know what these monsters are. Sometimes they drop random hints like, oh, they are actually humans, but they never follow up on it. They act like it never happened. After though, we get more nonsense, where Echo finds his true purpose and turns into a player himself. It was quite fun to be fair, but then we went back to London, where things became a lot more interesting. Apparently, the move we knew never existed. Out of nowhere, she's no longer under control, and she is the king of the earless, ready to destroy this world. However, she generously gives everyone 7 days to prepare before the world's destruction.
7 days, and my shadow will fall upon your land again. But for now, I shall part from here.
How nice of her. Then we get the finale, where every character comes together to defeat her with the power of friendship. They succeed. Everyone lives happily ever after. The people that died comes back, and suddenly the healers turn into people. What an amazing anime. I wish I could say there was something more to it, but there was literally nothing to talk about. 90% of the anime is just boring as fuck. Overall, the anime wasn't that bad. It had its enjoyable moments. However, it failed to make itself interesting. It has a good premise, really nice design, acceptable characters, a great studio, and filled with A-list voice actors. However, it completely fell flat when it comes to the most important part, the story itself. It's so poorly written that it comes off as annoying. There were many situations when the characters' actions instantly contradicted their words. This anime was created for people who love music, but it does it in the worst way possible. It feels like the only purpose was to put as many references as possible into every single episode. A rushed attempt to pay homage to literally every rock band. This, combined with the idea of mecha, was terribly executed. Every episode had a 5-minute fight scene that was unremarkably boring. Not to mention how bad it looked. Every episode followed this same formula. 15 minutes of references, 5 minutes of fights, 1 minute setting up for the next episode. The characters are decent overall, but the main duo felt forced together. They never actually developed as a pair. Most of the time in the anime they were separated, yet suddenly they end up together at the end. Many storylines are left unexplained, things just happen, but we never actually know how. It suddenly is like that, and it's really annoying. Also, considering this is a music anime, they didn't have a single good song. 90% of the time, we heard the exact same one. Considering how much money was spent on this thing, with all the big names behind it, it was extremely disappointing. However, if you want to watch another anime that was bad, but actually fun to watch, click on this video. Bye!